I'm going to call the Monday, February 7th, 2022 Select Board meeting to order. Let's begin this meeting, like we always do, with this Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to announce that we're, to remind everyone, this meeting is being recorded by MCTV. We're going to kick off this meeting with our town administrator report, including a vaccination and COVID-19 testing clinic update. Mr. Maresco.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely.
And if I may, just take a moment to inform the board that a former selectman passed away this past weekend. Mr. Jim Creed, Jay Creed's dad, passed away. He was a distinguished member of the Board of Selectmen and of the Board of Assessors. So he served the town quite well. So I wanted to mention that. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Town Administrator's Report, week of the 24th of January. I had my usual call into WATD to do a preview of the Select Board meeting, breakfast meeting with Chairperson Rowland, PMA weekly meeting with Fred to review issues of the week that will be coming up regarding the police and DPW projects, meeting with Ann Bastille, our town accountant, to review our revolving accounts, a meeting with Tom Reynolds and Danielle Kerrigan to review some DPW personnel issues and changes that Tom was requesting. Meeting with James Marathis from the Housing Authority, Kerry Richardson from the Housing Authority, and Greg Guimont to review and discuss some affordable housing needs of the town, where they see it going, the types of housing that we're going to need, and to come up with some type of plan. We had, I had the meeting with the weekly owner, architect, and contractor meeting on the police project. I had a meeting with Chief Tavares on some ongoing police issues. Had our bi-weekly DPW meeting on their project. Had a storm prep meeting at the EOC to get ready for the impending storm that was coming. A meeting with Mr. Lally. He was the last to sign the easement, and we had everyone from Bay Avenue now signed, so they will all be in line to get beach nourishment. So it was great to those folks, and hopefully that inspires. I know Mr. Kilcoyne joined us out there earlier in the winter, but hopefully, other residents from Foster Ave and other areas will step forward and want to sign the easement so that they too can get beach nourishment. Meeting with Fred Russell on ongoing building maintenance issues for the schools, the town, and our capital projects. I had the pleasure of attending graduation ceremony at the Fire Academy in Stowe with Chief Simpson, retired Chief Hawking. For Deputy LaSalva, he graduated from Chief School, so that was a great event. We had another storm meeting at the EOC so that we were prepared for the last storm, not the storm we just had this past weekend. And on Friday of that week, we picked up the COVID test kits down in Plymouth that was supplied to us by the Plymouth County Commissioners and Treasurer O'Brien. And it was a lot of fun. We had the police and fire and the trucks down there. We were all down there. Did some nice photos and quick speeches. Week of January 31st, I had a welcome meeting for Lisa Clark, our new treasurer-collector who's here. Had a meeting with Ann Bastille, Chief Tavares, and Captain McDonough on some grants. Marshfield Police Project Building Committee meeting. We had a meeting on the Clinic Testing Center with Chief Simpson, Todd Goodwin, and Deputy LaSalva and former Chief Hawking on the testing center, and the meeting with Treasurer Clark and Ann Bastille, town accountant, to deal with Schedule A issues. Meeting with Sheila Gagnon and Carol Hamilton from the Senior Center on final purchases for the Senior Center. Interview of Dan Thomas for Assistant Director of the Board of Health with Danielle and Gary Russell. Meeting with Chief Simpson on budgetary issues for the fire department. A meeting with Sue Karen on the Pratt Farm property and plans going forward for creating a nice wetland area over there and a picnic area. Meeting with the Harbor Master, DPW, and Forth Consulting on beginning the process for the Harbor Dredge Plan. And later in the afternoon, had a conference call with Labor Council and Danielle, HR Director, regarding some personnel issues. And then on Sunday, we passed out 10 test kits at the fairgrounds. That's my town administrator's report, and I'll go right into the
Please do.
clinic. Vaccine, PR testing as of 2/7. We handed out 2,700 boxes or 5,400 tests that represented about 1,350 cars that came through yesterday, and everyone was very happy to receive them. As it relates to the clinic, we've given out 20,602 vaccine shots since October 31st. We're averaging about 150 vaccines each day. We have all three available, and we're going to be doing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 9 to 3. We're doing testing. We do testing all the time, PCR free for anyone that wants to go. And we have all three vaccines, whether it's your first, second, or booster shot. And we do that, and I want to give a shout out to the sheriff office, because the sheriff's office put a message out on Friday to the 27 communities, letting the 27 communities in Plymouth County know that they're all invited to come and to get PCR testing, to get their booster shots and regular shots. So that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, great work. Lot of positive movement to making sure people get that peace of mind to get tested, and if they're not vaccinated, to be able to get vaccinated. So, great work. Thank you, Mr. Moresco. We have a 6:35 appointment. Michael Westort, is Mike here? Is he here?
I don't see him, nor do I see him up on the TV.
I believe it's 6:35, right?
Yep, 6:35.
It's 6:37.
Mr. Chairman.
All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and move to our first action item, which is presentation of checks for our ARPA funding for nonprofits. I see a lot of our great nonprofits here. Excited to be able to do this. I know my colleagues are as well. I believe we will handle this, right, Mr. Moresco? We'll bring them up one at a time?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So we appreciate all the nonprofits that applied for this ARPA funding, and we're excited to be able to award money to help our nonprofits function and do the good work that you do in our community. So first, we want to bring up the Kiwanis Club of Marshfield. I think I see you gentlemen back there. I don't know what I have here. Let's see. And the Kiwanis Club, we are, sorry, my voice, I don't know what happened. It's just one of those things that's not COVID, by the way.
And Mr. Chairman, if I
Yeah.
might, just maybe to, as a suggestion,
Sure.
what you might want to do is just recognize everybody, give them their check, and then we'll do a big photo with everyone, unless you want to do individual. It's
Oh,
up
yeah,
to
we
you.
could do that. We
Okay.
could do it that way. So, I'm sorry, you guys can sit down.
Thank you.
I was gonna bring you up one at a time, but I think it makes sense. You tell us, I'm not that good at this thing, I just kind of wing it.
You're doing great.
So, here are the organizations that we're recognizing tonight and we're awarding ARPA funding to. The Kiwanis Club of Marshfield for $5,000. Sowing Seeds Ltd. or Limited, $4164.94. Drug Story Theater Inc., $5,000. Marshfield Education Foundation, $5,000. Talkie Information Center, $5,000. Magical Moon Foundation, $5,000. Marshfield Council on Aging Boosters, $5,000. And Marshfield Lodge of Elks, $24.94 Inc., $5,000. So, yes, Mr. Moresco.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, just in case people are wondering, per the request of the Board of Selectmen, we reached out to the nonprofit organizations, and they had to supply their tax records to show that they had a loss in 19 and 20, which then qualified everyone to get $5,000. And in case people are wondering, Sowing Seeds had a smaller budget and their loss was smaller, so their loss was $4,164.94 according to the tax records that were supplied. So under the law, we couldn't give more than what you lost.
Right.
So just in case people were wondering. Mr.
Thanks for that point of clarification. That was probably something many people might wonder why they weren't getting the same amount, so I appreciate that. All right, so if we could do a photo op, that would be great. If everybody could come up and We have big checks, not as big as the lottery, as Kate said earlier. That's Kate's, that's not
Did
mine.
they work?
Well, the only thing I make, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
people wanna be careful with the big checks because they actually are a photocopy, but
Of
you're
the
not
real
supposed to
deal.
do so. After the presentation, you can destroy them.
You're not supposed to do it, we're gonna take a picture of you with it, so. So I'm gonna give, so I have the actual checks as well. This is the Kiwanis, so where are those gentlemen? It's like Christmas. Drugstore Theater, I don't know. Oh, great.
Thank you.
Thank Joe as well. Dr. Joe. Marshall Education Foundation, excellent. Talking Information Center, I believe they could not make it, so I'll just keep that. Magical Moon Foundation.
Right.
Oh, excellent. Thanks for all that. Marshfield Council on Aging Boosters. Excellent. Good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Marshfield Lodge of Elks, 2494. Mr. Cantwell. Sowing Seeds Limited. Excellent. Thank you. All right, and I should probably get these out too. So I think it's going to be multiple big checks. Drugstore Theater.
Thank you.
Marshall Education Fund. You are. Talking Information Center, down here. Magical Moon.
Right
You have pretty good memory, right? Marshall Council on Aging Boosters, is right there. Marshall Lodge of Elks is right there. And Sowing Seeds, there you go.
Thank you.
All right, what are we
And
gonna
if
do?
we do a picture right up there, if everyone can come up around the selectmen, right behind the desk, I'm the designated photographer.
Put in my stomach.
You guys sitting or you standing?
Stand, yeah.
Sorry, no worries.
There we go.
Come on in, come on in. I know it's, I promise I don't have to go. Just got tested.
Yeah.
So he's, okay, we're tighten up?
Yeah, come on in.
If I could just ask some people just to move down this way,
this
just a
way.
little more,
Here we go.
just so we can center right on that wall. We'll have to get in close.
Come on down.
Oh, God, yeah, sorry.
I just wanna make sure I get everyone in the picture. Okay, I'm gonna, on the count of three, I'm gonna take the picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay, don't move, because I'm gonna take a couple. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect, thank you, everyone.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it so much. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, good to see you.
Relax.
My pleasure, my pleasure. You probably don't remember, I come down a couple times too. When my daughter was very little. Yeah, she'd have blasted.
Well, come on back.
She's 14 now.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I know, I can't believe, that's awesome. It's really great.
Thank you so much for your
Come back
pleasure.
and
My
visit.
pleasure, I'm sorry it happened.
Oh,
Well, yeah, this sure helps.
Michael, do you want the big checks?
Want to take the big ones back to Sherman?
Sure, we'll collect them, yeah.
I mean, I'm honest, I would definitely
Yeah.
tear it up or
Yeah,
put it
I just want,
away.
only because they have the account number, I don't want anyone to.
Thank you to everyone for acknowledging.
yeah, we got it both up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You're all done up now. Yeah,
Absolutely,
whatever
Jack,
works for you.
thank Thanks for all you guys do, man. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Of course,
Thank you, absolutely, thank you.
Thank you so much.
of course.
I really appreciate it. Come visit Magical.
Thank you.
I saw that.
Of course.
Anytime.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
All right, I see, Michael Westford, right? You just got,
Paul Jacobson, but yes, I am with Mike Westwood.
is he coming or are you?
He is coming, he told me it was 7, so I apologize.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look
All
at
right,
your
well,
agenda, so-
that's okay, we can,
but I can answer anything for you, to help you move along.
if he's coming, no, it's okay, we have other appointments and we
Okay,
can,
yes,
I'll
he-
just wait for him to come.
He is scheduled for 7 o'clock.
Okay, great. Well, he was actually scheduled for.
Scheduled for 6:30.
Just to be clear. Where is my, all right, what time is it? We got, all right, Joe, 6:45. Joe Rossi is from, is going to go over the PPI and hazard mitigation plan update. Joe,
Yes.
great to see you again.
Yeah, good to see everyone.
Excellent.
Appreciate having me. We do this annually, which is just for the CRS, the full CRS credit, actually any CRS credit, for either our hazard mitigation plan implementation or a program for public information requires your quick review and a discussion about CRS, PPI hazard mitigation, approval of both updates, and that allows us to prove to ISO, who implements this program on behalf of FEMA, that we are actually implementing the plan. So it's always good to have that done. In each one of these updates, you'll get a quick synopsis of some of the metrics that we track each year. Along with those metrics, you'll also see updates specifically in the PPI update about what we've done and what we want to do or change about the program for public information. And just as a point of clarification, what the PPI is it is our, as a town, our organized plan for how we implement outreach programs for all flood hazards. So the full PPI is available on the town's PPI website. So you can download and review there. Some of the highlights from 2020, 2021, one of the ones that I think is really funny is we actually track how many times somebody has to be rescued from their car during a flood. And that is an important metric because last year there was one, and this past year there was none. So we've improved on that metric.
100%.
Yes, exactly. So that was an important metric to increase. And one of the some of the other metrics that we track as you go through here is such things as, how many NFIP policies are in place for the town, how much work is being done to our coastal infrastructure, how many buildings are being substantially improved, and how many of those are being brought into full compliance. This is something where, as some of you are aware, we've become a lot, and thanks to the help of our planning and building departments, we have become as a town a lot stricter about our substantial improvement requirements, and that has been due to the fact that we are building a culture in this town of floodplain management. And as one of the most vulnerable communities from a coastal perspective in New England, that could not be a more important goal for us to continue to do. The other document you'll see in front of you is the Hazard Mitigation Plan ongoing update or annual review. That is something that myself and other members of the committee go in front of the department head meetings for the town, which essentially consists of all those who helped organize the original hazard mitigation plan. What we do is we go through all of the, I think there's 46 different hazard mitigation action items, and actually discuss which ones have been accomplished, which ones still need to be accomplished, which ones are in process of being accomplished. In about a year or two, I believe, we're going to be working to do a new hazard mitigation plan, as we are required to do every 5 years by FEMA. So that is, and this is an ongoing, that's done quarterly, and so what you'll see is basically the living document, which is updated once a quarter, and once every 5 years, that document is reset to update the plan as it's redone. I think, again, talking about a culture of CRS in our town and floodplain management, this is something which I think has greatly improved the awareness of our community about our hazards and how to mitigate them, literally implementing the hazard mitigation plan. We had an update in the fourth quarter of this past year where we got a ton of updates because it really brings the departments together to say what hazards does each department have responsibility to do, but then which ones, and then there's discussions about, okay, well, we should do this and work together on this, and it really kind of helps us accomplish those. So I'll take any questions if you have any, or want an explanation or outline any other parts of the updates.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate you coming and giving us an update. I mean, one of the things I really love about this is, as you said, we're in a very vulnerable area when it comes to flood, mitigation and potential hazards, and like you said, even car rescues, which I think we're already off to a start where we had a couple of those, at least one I know of this last storm. So, it's important to be proactive and have a plan, and I think your organization and what you guys do really shows that. So I really don't have any questions. I look forward to looking through the entire reports and potentially talking with you further, but at this point, I'm good. I appreciate you giving us the update.
Yeah, thank you. And to that point that you just mentioned, one of the things that we find is this evolves over time. That's where on one of the last pages of the PPI update, you'll actually see 2020 suggestions, 2021 suggestions. That's where I think we have the most impact over time because we find things, for example, cars in the water. There's been a recommendation to put up signs that say don't drive here when the lights are flashing, right? Because that could be areas that flood. There's been recommendations to work with EOC on a plan that would send out localized reverse 911 calls, as well as possibly utilizing our nuclear sirens to blast flood warnings out. Each one of these action items actually gains us significant points. You've heard me last year, I think, say, and this year again, that we have the most points of any community in Massachusetts, which means we're the closest of any community to going to the next higher level.
Yeah.
And that would get us a 20% discount on all NFIP flood insurance policies. At a time when affordability is so critical, it not only helps mitigate our hazards, but also helps with affordability.
Absolutely, and I'm sure, I know our residents who are in the floodplains appreciate that because to them, besides the loss of property and, other things, it's also saving money on their insurance and making sure
Yeah.
they have that opportunity too, so.
Exactly.
Mr. Darcy, do you have any questions or anything?
Yeah, I think the reverse 911 system that you mentioned for flooding is something a lot of local residents would be interested in, so that'd be fascinating, kind of the game plan to move that forward. And
Yeah.
we appreciate you rolling up your sleeves and diving into the policy weeds, because not a lot of people do, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And we actually, when we had brought this idea to EOC, they were like, well, actually, we've already started working on a reverse 911 plan. So it happened that we were working kind of on the same track, and that's what I mean by kind of working together with these other departments to make sure it can happen. So, yeah, we're excited about, all the different things that are going on, and like you said, paying attention to an area of the town which has, kind of the most vulnerability and trying to make it a little less vulnerable for residents.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks will buy you a beer in Brant Rock if you get this going.
Yeah, no kidding. Great, anything else?
No.
Let's go, Cohen.
No, I'll just build on what the two of you said. Very comprehensive, great work. Thank you very much for doing it, and I look forward to being able to read it and understand it better.
Cool.
All right, thanks so much, Joe.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, just, I think there just needs to be a vote to accept both plans.
All right, let me do
Yeah.
that. Thank you. So I'm going to, the board is going to move to approve the updated PPI plan and the hazard mitigation plan for the town of Marshfield for 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you
Thanks,
very
Joe.
much.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep, thank you.
Just a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Briscoe.
Yes, sir.
Do we need to do roll call votes if we're doing this hybrid?
Everyone's present in the chamber, so we don't have to.
We don't have to. So if only two of us were present, we would do it?
Everything would have to be by roll call, because people wouldn't be able to see you.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, got. I see, Mr. Westort, you're here. Yeah. I want you, we've got some time before our next appointment. I want you guys come on up.
I apologize, I thought I was at 7, my bad.
It's okay.
We used to be back in the day.
I'm used to Situate, probably, I just assumed 7 and didn't look at the agenda.
Yeah. So we're looking for an update on,
Health Circle.
yes, on Health Circle. I know, the original license was granted to you in 2018, so it's been almost 4 years since that happened, and there's still not a dispensary yet. And we just kind of looking for some updates and some communication about where we are and what the plan is here.
Not a problem. Yeah, we got the host agreement, I think, in 18, then it took probably about 18 months to get the special permit.
Right.
It's going through the boards, and they'd issue some fences and parking and street lights and stuff like that. The landlord is now officially out of the building. He's moving his last stuff up this week. He was building a new building to move into, and then with COVID, let's just say they've had a few delays.
Right.
He should be out, any day now. We already have the building permit approved, correct? Yes. So we submitted the building permit, the building permit's approved, so once he's out, we can start construction.
What do you think your timeline is for being from construction to opening?
So the difficult part is the state. because everybody thinks they're gonna be open. Like, once we're done construction, we're probably, I hate to say it, but gonna be sitting around for a couple months waiting for inspections. Then once they inspect it, they gotta go back to the state, the board approves it, then they come back and do a final.
Right.
In Rockland, I think we were done in October and we didn't open till February. And it's not because I didn't want to, I mean,
Right.
like,
Right.
so that's the tough part, to give you an answer, but, I mean, say construction's 4 months, 5 months if something goes wrong, or we can't, supply chain issues, and then the state is better now than where they were, well, just because there's less people in the queue.
Right.
So it shouldn't take 4 months from once we're just got a completed building. Hopefully it would be 2 months or whatever else. I don't know, like South Shore Buds, I think ended up taking a lot longer than they anticipated too, to get the final inspection, but that would be my guess.
Right. Especially this is our second one now, so we know what
Yeah.
to expect a little bit on a final inspection too.
Yeah. I mean, South Shore Buds is also, they also own additional dispensaries. This isn't their first rodeo. So they kind of knew what was going on too. And I will say,
But
I felt like the communication was really, really clear with them and the process was really, really seamless.
Okay.
And they were open and what was the timeline between the time that we,
A little less than 3 years.
less than 3 years from the minute we got the host agreement to them to the time they were open. So,
You know, we wanted to start a year ago, but I just didn't have access to the building.
Yeah.
So now we have access to the building, we got the building plans approved, it's been designed, so we shouldn't have any issues.
okay. For me, it's really important that there's clear line of communication and regular updates as you move in. Now that it seems that you've gotten, you know, the previous owner is out of the building, you're beginning construction, you've got a building approval. What I'd like to see is regular communication with our town administrator, just how things are going along and as you uncover in timeline. Because I think right now there hasn't been a whole lot of communication, at least from my view.
Okay.
And, you know, I joined the board of the Board of Selectmen 3 years ago, and you were given this host agreement before I was even a select board member. So
Yep.
it just seems like I understand there's challenges, I get that. But communication to me is key because it's not that it's the delays, it's just I don't know what the timeline
Why
really
it's going.
is. I just don't know.
I can check
Right.
in with you monthly if you want, Mike, if that's just to give you a couple
That-
line, hey.
That would be
we're-
great, absolutely.
Monthly is good?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
if you want more, I don't, whatever you guys want.
No, I mean, for me, it's just the key, as you know.
No, people are gonna ask you, and you're like, I don't. You want to know what the answer is? I get it. I'm on the other boards. I'm like, oh wait, I didn't. Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. It's just that we have two agreements. You won one of them, and when you're not open, we're not really. There's no benefit to the town right now. You know, no financial benefit or anything. It's just we're waiting, and it's a considerable amount of money that goes to help our taxpayers and
Oh,
stuff. So, right. So it's really important to me that we have a plan and we can articulate that plan. And the other thing is as you know, we have buildings of our own that are going up, and I'm very aware of where we are on each of those projects, the police station, the DPW, and we just finished I think we're almost completely finished with the senior center. So, you know, for me, anytime we have a major project going on in town that was we're partners in this, so let's
Yeah, no,
work
I.
like partners, so.
No problem whatsoever. We just so we should be finishing the first phase of our grow in Rockland, probably the end of next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we'll be good there. So the only other question I had was on. I sent you the email on the delivery.
Yeah, for me, for delivery, let's get to a point where we have your first commitment, which is getting this dispensary open.
Well, I wouldn't be
before we start
delivering from here.
I understand.
Oh, okay, because I was just wanted, obviously in full communication, wanted to talk to you guys, because I am delivering from Rockland, and you guys are a yes town, so that's why I just want to talk to you guys first.
Yeah, for me, I feel like let's get to a point where you're fulfilling the agreements that we put in place first before we start talking about delivery.
Okay.
Mr. Darcy?
Yeah, we certainly want you guys to be successful, because if you're successful, that's good revenue for the town as well. And you guys are very aware of all the taxes that go into these host community agreements.
Yes.
And so I think what folks are looking at is, so we have two host agreements. And so the Board of Selectmen approved yours in January of 2019, and we approved the one for Frozen 4 / South Shore Buds in July of 2019, and they're now open. And I know that you guys have had your challenges, but you guys still have yet to open, and there's no really end date in sight quite yet.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering, how much work does the building need now that the landlord has moved out, and kind of how long do you think that build out will take?
All the work is on the interior,
Yeah.
with the exception, we do have to put up a guardrail and some boulders that the zoning board wanted. But for the most part, it's all interior work, so it's metal studs, sheetrock, cabinets, ceilings, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So there isn't any, things that are driven by weather, let's say. The very little bit of site work outside is just, there is a two-rail guardrail, if you will, that's separating the brewery from us on that island. If you're familiar with the property, there was some concern about that
Yeah.
between the two. So other than that minor site work, I'm saying, the majority of the work is on the interior.
Sure.
The one thing we do, the only long lead time is the units that are going up. There's 2 units for air conditioning. So those have already been approved and shop drawings have been ready. So we're just trying to get a date on delivery of those.
Sure. So not counting the time it might take for the CCC and the state to approve a dispensary, do you guys think that you'll be done with your end of the work in, let's say, 6 months?
I would say construction is probably gonna be somewhere in that range. In other words, it's about a 4-month construction window, once we can physically start. So I'm expected to get in there hopefully by the end of this week to do layout. I've been trying to get in there to do layout, and we haven't been able to. So the majority of our work is in the back of his building, if you're familiar with his building. It's a warehouse with offices up front, so the dispensary is going toward the back of the building.
Sure. And so let's say from January 2019 until now, what would you attribute most of the delays to? Would you say it was waiting for the landlord to move out, or what have most of the delays been caused by, would you say?
Yeah, the permit was issued in September. Building permit. So it's, unfortunately, we don't own the building. We're a tenant, so the gentleman that owns the building is in the building. So it was just a matter of him getting into the building that he was going into. He had looked at renting a place in the short term, but that didn't seem to pan out for him. So it was just strictly, it wasn't on our side, it was more or less getting into the facility. And unfortunately, we didn't have control of the building.
Sure. So from your perspective, what would you guys say would be a fair and reasonable timetable to finish the construction and be ready to submit an application to the state signaling that you guys are ready to
We're
open?
probably I would say you're probably in the 3rd or 4th quarter to get opened. So we're hoping to be by the end of the year. What we're hoping to do is have construction completed by the end of the 2nd, possibly the 3rd quarter. And then the last, from September to December, that's a prime time to open up anyway.
Yeah.
So we're somewhere in that ballpark from that standpoint. The construction piece isn't a huge piece for us. From a timeline, it's just on some specialized equipment.
Yep.
I don't know, the bill's 3 times as much as what it was a year ago, not 3 times, but it's,
The cost of materials have gone out of sight from that standpoint.
Yeah. So would you say the interior is mostly cosmetic work and then waiting on those AC units to come through?
It's not so much cosmetic work, there's quite a bit of walls going up, because you're taking an opened storage area. We can't utilize much of the office space, other than offices for ourselves.
Yep.
They are coming through the front door. That was a concern at one point. We were gonna come in through the side, and we went back and forth with the zoning board, and they wanted everyone to come through the front door, so we've made arrangements for that.
Sure.
There will be some signage on the side, because that's where if we put our total signage on the front of the building, you'd be by the building before you saw where we were. So there is some signage going up on the side of the building, so people know where we are.
Yeah.
But we will be coming through the front door. There is a check-in area that we're utilizing as where some of the offices were, but the majority of space was warehouse that now has to be constructed with walls and counters and ceilings and sprinklers being relocated and everything of that.
Yeah.
And then heating and cool. He didn't have any cooling back there at all, so that's where we gotta put another unit on.
Sure. And are you guys still shopping bids, or do you have all your contractors lined up?
We have all the same subs that we're currently using. We are shopping a couple of things, some specialized items, but everyone is in place. got the whole crew available right now, so, from electrical, you know, the major subs. Plumbing, electrical, things of that.
Yeah, so they built out the dispensary in Rockland first, then they moved to the grow in Rockland, the first phase. Then they'll go over to Marshfield, and then depending, probably go back and finish out the second phase of the grow in Rockland. That's basically the plan.
Got it. Thank you.
Mr. Kilcoyne?
No, I think my colleagues have covered the concerns. Thank you.
Okay. All right, great. So, so we talked about having a monthly update with Mr. Moresco. If you'll just make sure that
Yep.
you're keeping us updated through him, and if we have other questions, we'll get with you. I mean, as Mr. Darcy said, I mean, we're in this together. We want you to get open, but we'd like to have a pretty as concrete as possible plan and know when we can
What the
expect that to happen. So
No, that's reasonable. I
And
mean,
then the deliveries will just,
we'll talk about it. Yeah.
the only thing on the deliveries, just if you're not aware that other companies can come in to deliver your town. And so you know, the only reason we were saying is we're trying to,
build the name
in
up
the
before we
town,
get open or whatever, so
you
they
know,
know
I'm
Health
just saying
Circle,
if
they know
someone
the
can come in
products.
without having to go in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's what's a disadvantage to either us or Buds, you know, two people that are in your town already. So I just want to
Okay.
make you aware of that.
Yeah,
That's
so
all I just.
what I did wrong is Rockland opening. I thought, like everybody else, there'd be a big influx of people. So
Yeah.
like, I wasn't, you know, we didn't market a lot because I wanted to work out the kinks, kind of figure out the system so people had a good customer experience.
Okay.
Well, little did I know that you've got to advertise quite a bit more to get the people because there's so many around. So
Yeah.
that's why we were thinking of expanding into Marshfield, just so they know the Health Circle name. So when we open up, there's already a client base there.
Yeah.
And we're ready to go, which in turn obviously helps you guys as well.
Sure.
And we're delivering to Rockland, Abington, Quincy anyways, so.
So
You
if
can
that,
only deliver in a town that
yes
has
town.
approved recreational.
right, I knew that. So my question would be then, if other companies can just deliver into Marshfield without talking to us, then why are you having to talk to us?
Just out of respect, I just
Yeah, we
emailed
just
Mike.
did it out of respect, because we
Because
didn't
we're,
want to.
because we are partners, so I didn't want to do something, you guys find out, be like,
I hear you.
that guy's delivering here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I was just
Yeah.
kinda,
Yeah. All right.
that's the only reason. But yeah, I mean, like, technically, anybody could deliver here now.
Okay.
It's just our special permit doesn't require us to deliver out of the Marshfield building,
Right. Okay.
okay? But it doesn't say about delivering from other buildings that we had, you know, like, for instance, Rockland.
Right.
So, and that doesn't stop someone that isn't in Marshfield from delivering
Right.
to Marshfield.
Right,
you know,
I understand.
That's why we would just,
Okay. We'll talk more about that, but we appreciate you coming in and just giving us an update, and we look forward to seeing progress and seeing things go.
I get a lot of questions too. When the hell you open a Marshfield? What, sorry,
I understand.
not hell. When the heck you open a Marshfield?
I understand. I understand. All right. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, guys.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so our next appointment, we have our 7 PM appointment, the Marshfield Housing Authority, a joint appointment to fill vacancy.
And Mr.
And we're
Mr. Chairman, if I
right.
may.
Yes.
So the Housing Authority, the rules all changed, legislation passed in the fall of '21, and they no longer can participate. It's up to the board to appoint, they make a recommendation, and then the board appoints, but there were legislature work to clear up some problems with the Housing Authority. People remember a few years ago, there was an issue, Chelsea Housing Authority was cited. After what happened there, the legislature crafted some legislation about broadening the board of who gets appointed. There's a formula for some people that live there, serve on the board, and then some people actually run for the Housing Authority seats and get appointed. So what the Housing Authority is asking the board to do tonight is, there was a member that was removed from the Housing Authority that created a vacancy.
Right.
So the person that they've recommended, and that's the only person that expressed interest, is for you to appoint that person. That person would be appointed until May 1st of 2023. So that person would have to run. So they'd be appointed, and they'd have to pull papers and then run.
Okay. All right, excellent. Is Mr. Marathas here from Housing Authority?
No, because
Okay.
he's not allowed, they're not allowed to participate.
I get it.
They sort of depoliticized everything.
I understand that. Okay, I understand now. So, so we have the applicant is Cecilia Delgadillo. Is that correct?
Yes, got it.
Are you here? Was that the right way to say it? Okay. Do you have anything, would you like to say anything?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I mean, I took a look at your credentials and your background, and I mean, I think you'd be fine to serve on the Housing Authority. You have a strong background in business and communications, and I think that, that's a good fit, so I have no other questions on that.
Yeah, I think you might have the attendance record for our meetings this year, so you're obviously a very engaged citizen.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Cogoin?
No, we're always looking for volunteers of your caliber, so I really appreciate it. You've got a nice background here, and it is something we sorely need in this town. We've got a lot of openings. What do we have, Michael, 21 openings?
Yes.
So, yes. So I have no further items except for that.
Okay, great. So the board moves to select Cecilia Delgadillo as the town-appointed board member for the Marshfield Housing Authority. Your term will begin upon the swearing in, your swearing in, and expire on 5/1/2023. That's my motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Our next is, our next action item is discuss and vote on request to waive fees for Conservation Department. Mr. Maresco.
So as folks know, when municipal government goes before one of our boards, we don't charge our board, so there are a number of actions, Harbor Master on Joe Drebeck Way, Marshfield Agricultural Commission, Marshfield Recreation Department, and Marshfield DPW on Surf Avenue. Those are required permits from the Conservation Commission. Conservation Commission doesn't want to charge the local municipality, and therefore, they've asked the Board of Selectmen to waive those fees. Only the executive branch of government can waive fees.
Right. So, okay. I noticed that you had an email with Mr. Grafton about the projects from the previous fiscal year. Is that?
Yes.
Did you get answers on all those?
Yes, those are okay, yes.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure. All right, I don't have any questions. Do you have any other questions?
No questions.
No questions?
Questions?
Okay. So the board moves to waive the conservation fees for the following municipal projects. Harbor Master Order of Conditions, 6/9/2021. Marshfield Agricultural Commission for a determination of applicability of 3/8/2021. Marshfield Recreational Department for determination of applicability 10/6/21. Town of Marshfield DPW, Surf Avenue determination of applicability 1/27/22.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next is discussion and vote on request to waive propane tank fees at Senior Center. I assume this is similar, Mr. Maresco?
Yes, similar thing. So the airport, not the airport, the Council on Aging had to have a propane tank put in the ground for their building to run the generator, and fire department is asking that the fee be waived.
Okay. All right, makes sense to me. No questions?
No questions.
Questions?
No question.
Okay. The board moves to waive the fire department inspection fee for the underground propane storage tank that has been installed at the Council on Aging.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is discussion and vote on adoption of recycled product purchasing policy. Mr. Maresco.
Yes, the DPW approached us, Debbie Sullivan, works very hard with recycling. This year, they wanted a sort of a beefed-up policy. This is what they're asking cities and towns to adopt. So I told her I would present it to the board, and if the board votes, then we'll be able to move forward with the recycled product purchasing policy.
No, it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I think anytime we can look for sustainable ways to be more sustainable as a town, including our energy policies and recycling policies, we should look at those. So I think this makes a lot of sense to me. I have no other questions.
No questions.
No, seems pretty straightforward.
All right, so I need to read this in the record. This is the Town of Marshfield Recycled Product Purchasing Policy. Whereas the town recognizes the need to make more efficient use of our natural resources and create markets for the materials collected in recycling program, and whereas the town can support recycling activities by purchasing more products made of recycled materials when such products meet quality requirements and are available at reasonable prices and terms. To the maximum extent practicable and consistent with the demands of efficiency and cost effectiveness, all town employees with purchasing authority shall adhere to the following standards. First, all purchases of paper products, including but not limited to copy paper, stationery, envelopes, notepads, and file folders, shall meet a minimum of 30% post-consumer recycled content to meet the current state and federal minimum standards. The decision not to procure recycled content paper products meeting this standard shall be based solely on a determination that the items are not available within a reasonable time period, or that items fail to meet reasonable performance standards or are only available at an unreasonable price. When purchasing of office, custodial, and maintenance products or any other products purchased by a town employee for town use, due consideration will be given to purchasing said products in a form of containing recycled content material. Said recycling products must be competitively priced and of comparable quality, performance, and availability. Town employees with purchasing authority shall become familiar with and utilize Massachusetts state contracts for recycled products and make purchases through the state contract wherever feasible. And this is resolved this eighth day, right? Seventh day of February 2022 by the Town of Marshfield Board of Selectmen, Christopher R. Rowland, Chairman, Stephen R. Darcy, Vice Chairman, and James J. Kilcoyne, Clerk. So, the board moves to adopt said policy, the Town of Marshfield Recycled Product Purchasing Policy.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Next, discussion and vote on appointment of one permanent full-time police officer. I spoke with Chief Tavares earlier, and he, talked to me a little bit about this. We have one opening on the Marshfield Police Department force, and it is not an additional police officer, it's a open position. And we've had a number of candidates, but there's a particular officer, Officer Kevin McDougal, who is a Marshfield High School graduate. He has strong ties to the community. He has been working as a part-time police officer in Cohasset for the past 5 years, and has graduated from the Basic Reserve Intermittent Police Academy. Kevin is trained on police mountain bike patrol, as well as criminal justice information systems. He is currently enrolled at Bridgewater State University studying for his degree in criminal justice. And Kevin has also donated his time and renovated the landscaping at the Marshfield Police Station, making it a more welcome place. So this is our chief's recommendation for this, to fill this open role, and for us to give him a conditional offer of employment as a full-time police officer. So it looks like everything's in order for this. I don't have any questions. Mr. McDougal looks like an excellent candidate.
Yep, no questions.
All right. So the board moves to give conditional offer of employment to Kevin McDougal for the position of permanent full-time police officer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It'd be really great too, he has the mountain bike patrol,
Yeah.
to be able to get him up into some of our trails where some people using like powered equipment up there, bikes and all that type of stuff, Michael.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely.
Because we don't have that ability to have that presence right now.
That's perfect.
That would be a great addition.
Excellent point.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing
Yes, sir.
to mention, just the chief wanted me to mention, is there were no bypasses on this.
Oh, right, yes, thank you for reminding me that. There was no bypass, there were no bypasses. He was the first in line to be considered for this as well, so, thank you. Right, next, discussion and vote on request for permission to use Town Hall parking lot for Girl Scout cookie sale on February 13th, 2021. Looks like they're having a sale on February 13th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And, they just want to do their sale here, and we've asked them to, make sure all their trash is removed. I think, obviously the Girl Scouts are a worthy group, and I'll probably come buy unfortunately too many cookies, as usual. So I have no other questions.
This is clearly the most controversial vote we'll ever take.
They better clean up. No, I'm kidding. That's funny. Mr. Kilcoyne?
No,
Anything?
no.
Okay.
Sell the cookies.
Just want to make sure. All right, great. So the board moves to approve the request of Girl Scout Troop 70764 to sell their Girl Scout cookies at the Town Hall parking lot on Sunday, February 13th, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Gonna put it right in my calendar now.
No kidding. Thin mints. All right, discussion and vote on request for permission to accept donation, Veterans Services. Looks like we received a donation for our Veterans Gift account from a resident who remain anonymous of $500, and this donation will be used to assist our veterans and their families. So very appreciative of this donation by our anonymous townsperson. I have no questions.
No questions.
No questions? Great. So the board moves to approve a donation from an anonymous donor for the town of Marshfield's Veteran Services in the amount of $500 for the Veterans Gift account. The donation will be used to assist our veterans and their families in time of need.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 That's very nice to do.
Yes. Next, discussion and vote on new appointments to DPW Building Committee. Mr. West, could you give
Mr.
me-
Chairman,
Yeah.
thank you. So, very quickly, Patrick Delarusso was on the building committee, and Christine McCarthy. They are now employed in other towns, so they can't serve on the committee. And I'm recommending Danielle Kerrigan and Tony Bullock from the facility department
Okay,
to take their spots.
okay. I have, yep, they were both excellent suggestions.
Do they know they're being recommended, Mike?
Yes, they do, yes. I had to ask them to make sure, that's correct.
Great. I have no questions.
No questions.
Okay, great.
Thank Tony and thank Danielle.
Yes,
Yes.
the board moves to appoint Danielle Kerrigan and Tony Bullock to the DPW Building Committee to replace Christine McCarthy and Patrick Delarusso, effective upon being sworn in by the town clerk.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, discussion and vote on renewal of fairgrounds lease for vaccination testing clinic. Mr. Maresco.
So, Mr. Chairman, this, our last, the contract that we had with the fair expired on December 31st. We needed to do an amendment. Town council put this amendment together. This allows us to continue to run the vaccination clinic and testing at the fairgrounds. And we just need the board to sign the amendment
Okay.
and vote it in the affirmative.
Okay, great. Does it say how long? Is it a specific amount of time?
Month to month,
Month to month, until we don't need to.
Correct.
Hopefully that won't be too long from now. All right, no, that makes sense. No questions.
No questions.
No, it is the pretty much available place, right, Michael?
yes, it is.
Okay,
There
great.
really is no other place. I mean, with that, we would not, so they've played an integral part just because of the property, you know. It's
We're lucky to have
perfect.
that property
We really
available.
are.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So the board moves to approve an amendment to the memorandum of agreement with the Marshfield Agricultural and Horticultural Society, Inc., for use of the fairgrounds for the regional vaccine distribution and inoculation center effective January 2nd, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, discussion and vote on ethics disclosure from Bert O'Donnell. I believe Mr. O'Donnell has filed a appearance of conflict of interest form due to, do you have the details on this, Michael?
Yes, he serves as a member of the Conservation Commission.
Correct.
And of the Community Preservation Committee, and there's a subject matter that is coming before the committee that potentially could have a conflict. He is reporting to his appointing authority that there is potential for a conflict. However, when the Ethics Commission asked on that form, if you look, taking into account the facts that I have disclosed above, I feel I can perform my official duties.
Right.
So that's what he checked off, and the board just needs to accept this.
Great. Great.
Let me make a quick comment, Mr. Chairman, if I
Sure.
could. So I know his wife Karen is on open space, Michael.
That is correct.
Mr. O'Donnell sits on the Conservation Commission as the vice chair. He's also a member of the Money Path, right, CPC?
CPC, correct.
So he's a member of the Money Path, he's a member of the Approving Path, and the person that filed to have it brought forward is his wife. maybe just for consideration, there's plenty of members on the Conservation Commission. If one recused, you still have more than enough to make a vote, and then that would eliminate anything rather than just, I think a recuse is better on this. But that's open for.
I would assume that his committee would ask him to recuse, would that not be
If they
true?
thought it was significant enough, that's correct.
All right, so are you asking us to
I think recuse is better on this.
require a recuse? I mean, I guess I assumed that that's what was gonna happen, so I'm okay with that. I mean, that's what I would do, so if I felt like there was a conflict.
Right.
So maybe just for full protection, we require a recusal.
Or what I might suggest is that we table this for our next meeting. It doesn't say how quickly he sent this. Normally, the board, town council did look at it. Normally, the board just accepts, because it's really up to the person. If they want to put themselves into being a conflict, then they subject themselves to a fine by the Ethics Commission.
Right, that makes sense. I mean, he is disclosing that he is part of these committees, so I guess the point would be,
See, this is the issue at hand right here. If deliberation and vote to support a town meeting article to fund a third-party conservation restriction
Right.
on several parcels of town-owned property. The article is a result of an application to the Community Preservation Committee, because the committee's funding the article that Open Space wanted.
I understand.
That's
So,
how the
yeah, the
conflict
only reason why I brought up, maybe you're right, Michael, when I was on the Conservation Commission, if we had a member that like knew the person or was involved in any way,
Right.
they would say that, and then they would always recuse. That's kind of the tradition on that commission, it may be a little different. So you think we should table?
Well, I mean, you're really only voting, so if you have a question, I think we'd want to run it by, I'm just
Right.
cautioning the board that we probably want to run it by Bob. I just don't know, we meet again on the 28th, so we got like a few weeks to run it by town council. Town council did look at it.
Okay.
I mean, every time we've received one of these, we approve it, and I know that Bert's heart is with conservation no matter who submits it, so, and it's a pretty numerous board too. It's not 3 people, it's a pretty
Right.
good number of people, so, I mean, it's up to you guys, but I'm fine with accepting Bert's
I
disclosure.
see your point, but I also see, based on that additional information from Mr. Maresco, I think we're just basically saying, based on this, that he's admitting he has,
He's disclosing.
right, he's disclosing a potential conflict of interest, and it's up to him to recuse himself or do what he needs to do so he doesn't get in trouble. I mean, he's bringing it to everyone's attention that he's involved. So I think if we accept it, then it's up to him to do the
The
right thing.
onus is on him, that is
Yeah.
correct.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then the board moves to accept disclosure of appearance of conflict of interest as required by Mass General Law, Section 268A, C 268A, Section 23B3 from Bertram O'Donnell, a member of the Conservation Committee and the Community Preservation Committee.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And last is our discussion and vote on change of ZBA associate member Larry Keane to full membership. Mr. Maresco?
Yes, so we had Mark Stiles resign from the board.
Correct.
And it's the board votes too, so we have auxiliary members, and you're voting to advance Mr. Keene to a full voting member. The reason we needed to do it so quickly is because you have to have a supermajority on something that they're taking up tomorrow night. So if someone has to recuse, they would only have 4 members. If someone recused, they wouldn't be able to do it, so.
All right, that makes sense. And I know that Mr. Keene was recommended by Chairperson Lynn Fiddler for this role, so he has served on their board as a
Correct.
part-time member, so a non-voting member, so that makes sense to me. Any questions?
No questions.
Questions?
No, he's associate member, he's ready to move up.
Great, that's kind of the way it
Happy that
works.
he's willing to do it.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
So the board moves to accept the board moves to accept, I lost,
This was a late
oh,
arrival,
got it.
yeah,
So the board moves to accept the
recommendation.
recommendation for Larry Keane to move associate member Larry Keane to full membership of the zoning board of appeals.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have enough signatures for our minutes, January 24th and January 29th?
Yes.
Okay. So the board moves to accept the meeting minutes from January 24th and January 29th, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's it for tonight. I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.